Hello, everybody. We're going to give people a few more minutes to join. I appreciate you being on time. You could take this moment now to turn off your notifications on your computer, silence your phone, close your door, do all the things that are going to help you focus on this information today. And I hope you like the music we're playing today. It's courtesy of Soma FM and their Secret Agent channel. If you're not familiar with Soma FM, they are a long-standing listener-supported internet radio station, network, really. And they have all different types of genres of music that they play, commercial-free. I've been a long-time supporter of Soma FM since, my goodness, 2007, when I first learned about it. And really, really great music. Highly recommend it. Well, it looks like it stopped. So maybe we should, oh, there we go. I'm gonna give it one more minute. I appreciate your patience. And again, I appreciate all of you for being on time. Okay, I think it's time to get started. Just bear with me while I turn off the music. If I can find my little window here. Okay. And then I'm going to share my screen again. Thank you all for being here. My name is Lisa Ann Pinkerton. I'm the CEO and founder of Technica Communications. And today's workshop is the first of many. And so we're starting at the baseline of how to power your sales and help you get some media attention, specifically with messaging. So what we're gonna cover today, all right, Zoom, work with me here, is how to use PR tools to bolster your sales funnel, how messages can aid in your customer journey, and some key tactics to make strategic PR activities result in media coverage. Now, we're not going to get to all the media coverage aspects today. That's in next month's talk, and I'll get to some of that in the future. But we only have we only have an hour, and I want this to be meaningful for you around messaging. And also, I like to run these workshops like workshops if we were in person. So feel free to be active in the chat. Raise your hand if you have a question at any time. Jenna Landgraf is one of the account coordinators here at Technica Communications, and she's helping me moderate that chat, and she's going to speak up when she sees that somebody has a question. And we'll have a conversation, really. I don't want to be talking at you. I want us to be talking together with each other. I want this to be as interactive as possible, given that it is a virtual setting. Okay. If you're not familiar with me, my name's Lisa Ann Pinkerton. Like I said, I started my career as an NPR and PBS environmental science journalist. I realized that towards the end of my tenure as a reporter, I was more in love with covering these clean technology companies, or I was more in love with those clean technology companies than doing the news every day. And anybody who has worked in a newsroom or understands what it's like to quote unquote feed the beast can be rather tiring and thankless. So my passion moved from news to supporting companies. And so that's when I started Technica Communications. I also run, I'm the vice chair now of a networking group I founded called Women in Clean Tech and Sustainability. I was the chairwoman for almost 13 years. And I also started a podcast during COVID, Earthlings 2.0, where we explore all the opportunities and challenges facing humanity in the 21st century and how we can build a collective future we actually all want to live in. Jenna's going to put my LinkedIn profile up in the notes. the chat here. So if you're not already connected with me, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and we can network. A little bit about Technica Communications. 65% of our team has journalism experience. They've worked in a newsroom. They know what it's like to be a reporter and how to sell stories, basically. We're definitely value focused. We want to make sure all of our clients are getting the value they're looking for from their PR program. And that can be a little bit different depending on the perspectives of the company. We have a lot of startup experience, and we have a lot of friends out there in the media. And this is the whole team here at our last Camp Technica retreat. We're a totally virtual company. So rather than having off sites, we have on sites. And like I said, we've been around for a long time. We're celebrating 15 years this year, which I'm really proud of. And so this workshop and the following workshops that we're going to put on this year are a part of our celebration of 15 years, our way to give back to you, to support you in your success. And Jenna will put in the chat we put up a blog post and a timeline of our Technica journey over 15 years. She'll put that link in the chat as well if you're curious to have a look at it. Okay, so I'm here to tell you that doing cool stuff is not enough. It is not enough to get you those customers you're looking for, to get you the investment you're looking for, or those strategic partners that you need to scale your business. It's just doing the cool stuff, and on its merits, it's going to gain the attention it deserves. This doesn't happen anymore. You have to do more. You need to tell people why it's cool. So that's what we're here to talk about today. And when you do that, and you sort of lay it out for people through your messaging, which we're going to cover, it can turn into eye-catching news. It can help show that you're a proven solution, that you're real. And also, when you're going after decision makers, which is typically what startups want to do when they're growing and scaling, and what PR can be very effective for, is that these people who are the decision makers, they have a nose for numbers, and they're looking for those metrics. So you want to be able to communicate those through your messaging. Also, these people are looking for thought leaders. They're looking for visionaries. They're looking for people that they can believe in, can feel inspired by, and those are the types of people they want to do business with. So showing up as a leader and a visionary with your thoughts to create a future that wouldn't happen any other way can get you some attention. Now, if you don't do any of these things, there is a cost, and that is irrelevance. And we've all seen this in our industries, those competitors that we might have that just don't promote themselves, or their languaging is too technical, or it's too fluffy, and people just don't seem to pay attention to them. And what happens when you do that is you can see a long or fragmented sales cycle. People can be confused about your offerings. You're not showing social proof, so you're not creating a feeling of belonging or a desire to belong to the group. People might actually question your traction. Think about some companies that you've come across, and you're like, are they even in business anymore? And you go to their website, they haven't updated it. Go to their LinkedIn, or there just doesn't seem to be anything happening. You start to wonder, I wonder what's wrong over there. So we don't want that. And so all of this can lead to depressed sales and revenue. So today we're going to talk about how you can use your messaging to prevent that. All right. So when we think about sales engine, or in the energy transition, I probably should change this to sales powertrain. The sales works best when people move slowly through this customer journey, and messaging and marketing can help with that. Brands speak to the customer's point of view. This is very critical. Too many people speak from their own point of view. But when you take the extra time and effort to translate that point of view on to the customer or the investor or the partner, whoever the audience you're going after, when you take the time to translate that so that you're on their map, speaking their language, talking about things they care about, relieving pain that they feel, people will attach to your brand because they feel like you understand them. Very critical. It's an emotional thing. Other things that make sales engines work really well is that customers show up to you pre-qualified and pre-sold, which means your sales cycle can be shorter and easier, and you're not spending a lot of time and effort educating customers on the same points. And also, you'll start to see your messages echoing out in the market. You might hear a customer repeat to you a marketing message or a PR message, and they didn't even realize they were doing it. Sometimes the best moments. So obviously, all of this together means that your team will always be closing. ABC, something we've learned long ago. That is the way to keep your sales engine moving forward. ABC, and coffees for closers. That's the other one. All right. Bonus points if anybody knows the references, the movie that those, or the movie or play, might be giving it too much away, that those reference. Okay. So what we know is that a problem plus pain can equal profit. Now, what do I mean by this? Lots of companies have problems that they're solving, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have anything to do. Great. And sometimes what am I trying to say? So when you, let me start over. So you have a problem that you're solving for, great. But if there's not any pain that your customer feels related to that problem, they are less likely to pay to relieve it. How many of you have watched a technology come out of the woodwork and it seems like it's a solution in search of a problem? That's a bad place to be in. Now, it might be that the people just haven't done the messaging work to reframe it so that you can understand what the problem is they're solving and what that pain is associated to it. But when you can identify these two things, the emotional pain that your customers or target markets are feeling and how your solution resolves that pain and gives them something that they can use, people are going to sign up. So make a note of on your computer, your task list, whatever, to work out that equation. I'll go back to it for a second. Work out that equation for yourself. This is the homework number one. Think about your target audiences. What's their problem? What pain do they feel? Emotional pain. And that's going to help you down your customer journey. Okay. Speaking of the customer journey, frequently we think of it as this linear experience. People start with awareness. I have a problem. I want to solve it. Then they have to consider, well, what are the solutions that I could use to solve my problem? Then they eventually have to come to a decision if they're serious about solving the problem. Sometimes there's the do nothing strategy, which can be a serious competitor for some startups. Then there's the retention piece. Once they become a customer, they stay a customer. And then, of course, loyalty, meaning they start telling other people to use the same product. This is your standard customer journey. This is the way a lot of people think of it. Problem is, it doesn't actually work that way. Your customer journey is more like the path of a river. And sometimes customers will come and go from this journey. They'll get distracted. They'll get pulled away by competitors' messaging or marketing efforts, sales efforts. They will just get overwhelmed and just put it aside as a project to figure out. They will get confused, and all of these ways to get distracted or pulled away from the customer journey. And what messaging and public relations does is it helps to keep your customers your potential customers, close to the company. And awareness is the same. Got to let people know what you're offering and how you're solving their problems. And then in the consideration section, we want to talk about credibility. So this is where your metrics come in, your validity as a solution, third-party testimonials or references, people standing up saying, yes, I use this product, it works great. Then at the decision point comes the validity. In messaging, we want to establish and demonstrate validity and relevance and why this is something that they need to sign up for today, not tomorrow or next year or wait around for the next iteration of a solution. Then the retention piece is about deliverability, showing customers that you can deliver and you can deliver frequently on time and provide them with the customer service they need to be happy using your product or service. And then the loyalty piece is being trustworthy. So this is sharing your thought leadership, demonstrating your vision, following up on things that you say you're going to do for your customers, again, customer service, and turning those customers into what we call referenceable customers, people who are willing to be public about their work with you, talk to investors on your behalf, or even other customers. Very, very key, especially when you're a young startup. So public relations helps your buyers navigate towards your solution, and all of that starts with your messaging. Okay, so I have a little case study here that we're going to go throughout the presentation. And this one is about Zero Avia, who we worked with for over 3 years to launch them from stealth and build them up a really strong brand. It all started by making sure that we had really clear messages that clearly defined the problem that airlines and airframe OEMs were facing, and outlining the challenges related to decarbonizing aviation, and that hydrogen-powered flight was the only meaningful solution to these problems. And what we noticed over time, within the first 6 months, is that reporters who were covering decarbonization broadly started repeating those messages back to us and telling people that they agreed that hydrogen for long haul, long distance aviation was the only meaningful path. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, and I want to give us a chance to breathe. So we're going to do an exercise together, but I also want to open the floor to see if there's any questions that anybody might have. So feel free to raise your hand or put your question in the chat, and we can cover it for you. And if there's no questions, I can just keep going. Okay. So while I wait to see if there's any, and Jenna, you might have to just chime in because I don't know if I'm going to see things because I'm sharing my screen. While you're thinking about if you have any questions or thoughts, this exercise is going to be very important for you if you haven't done this work already. And this is the kind of stuff that we start with new clients at Technica. So take a screenshot of this. We'll also share these slides afterwards. But you're going to map your customer journey, okay? So in the awareness piece, you're going to think about what pain and problem must my customers have who want to buy my solution. And then you're going to think about what metrics and stats that you have to help your customers choose your solution over others. Now, these can be features and benefits, and that's fine. But you want to translate those features and benefits into metrics, into results. And if you don't have the results, you can start with a customer use case until you get to the place where you can have some results or a case study. Or if you know that your solution is going to cost less or reduce the amount of carbon that is created in a certain activity or other types of attributes. Take the time to figure out what specifically those numbers are, and then what type of number you're willing to share. Because you might know that your solution reduces the cost of an activity by 50%, but maybe you want to hedge that a little bit because maybe there's several factors that go into that number. So then you might say up to 50%. Or you might provide a cost range, or you might share something like increases the speed of installation by, from 15 days to around 2 days. Okay, approximately 2 days. You can hedge it a little bit. And people can understand why you would do that. And most people aren't going to give you a hard time. They're just going to be thrilled that you gave them a number that they can use. And understanding that their number might be slightly different once they finally start using your product. But you want to help them understand what can they expect? And that gives you credibility because now you feel more real. Okay, viability. What proof shows your solution works? So what customers do you have? What partners have spoken on your behalf to say, yep, these people are great. Their product works the way it says it will. Deliverability. What real world results can you talk about publicly? And if you've got some results that you can't yet talk about publicly, make that an item on your to-do list to start that conversation with the people who would be the decision makers for that. And then trustworthy. What are some of the top things that will keep your customers coming back? When you understand those, you can actually develop loyalty faster.
Lisa Ann, we
All
have
right.
a question in the Q&A.
Awesome.
So the question is, can you comment on how PR is echoed by sales? It's one thing to land messaging and press releases. It's another to align it with the iterative work of sales. Especially in complex sales, this can be tricky. Getting into some of this with features and benefits, results, and use case.
Okay, so the way PR is going to support sales, and I kind of get into this later on, thank you, Jenna, is that you want your PR team to be really closely aligned with your sales team. Because when it is, then the PR team can understand very directly what some of the sticking points customers have along the customer journey, what are the attributes of the product that aren't being understood or need a lot of education, or even perhaps skepticism or objections that people might have. And then you can message for those and then create output content, whether it's a press announcement, thought leadership, a case study, talking points for an interview. You can get that information out into the world. And then, because you said the sales process being very iterative, when you have all of this information going out into the world, your sales team can then use that information to send it back to folks who, for conversations that might have gone cold, warm them up more. Or when you're in the moment of a conversation and you get an objection from a customer, you can say, you know what, that's a great objection. You're not the first person to have that one. In fact, we wrote this piece about it. It was in this, in fact, this interview that my CEO did, which was in, this publication, actually speaks to that. I'll send it to you. So what you're doing is you're giving them a third-party resource that talks specifically about their issue, and you're demonstrating market credibility because it's coming from a third-party resource, and you're helping them understand that, hey, I'm not the only person who had this objection, and it's something that is resolvable. Those are some examples of how the PR and messaging and sales can work together. At Technica, we are constantly interfacing with the sales teams about once a month, if we're lucky, because we know sales teams are busy and we don't want to take up their time. We'll get on the call with someone and just listen to them talk about their experience and what's been happening, what customers are saying, etc. And we'll tease out interesting information and then take that back, strategize about it, and then quite often it then becomes some type of media campaign that we put out. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, you could feel free to send me an email and we can talk more about it. Okay. So next, let's see if we can, here we go. So, at Technica, why is this so finicky? Okay. At Technica, we say, let 1,000 headlines run. When you do this, you build up a body of work where people can't help but get stuck in your web and funneled into your sales channel. And so that starts with translating your messages into media coverage. And this means understanding, being able to message, obviously the what and the features and benefits, that's great. But a lot of people stop there. They don't take the time to translate those items into things that speak the customer's language, demonstrate results, and then further demonstrate why it matters. Why is it relevant? Because when it's relevant, now you can create like a time pressure. Anybody who's been in negotiations knows the effective time pressure technique. And then that can very quickly translate into media coverage because that's what reporters are looking for. They don't really care about the what or the features and benefits. What they're interested in are the results of your work and why they should care, what it means to the industry, or why it's relevant to the public. Okay. When I was a reporter at NPR, I was asked to speak to a public relations society. And I remember sitting around this table with all these PR people, and they're asking me like, how can we do better to get you to cover our clients and everything? And I kept saying over and over, you have to tell me why I should care. If it's not clear why I should care, I'm going to move on. So you got to get really crisp and clean and clear with those messages and be able to put them out in ways where people get it instantly. Okay. This also means speaking in layman's terms. Remove the mess marketing and sales speak from your messages. Now, that's fine to keep them in the marketing messages or the sales messages. But when we're talking about getting out to the public and getting media coverage, we want to remove that fluff or those opinions, if you will, from your standard messaging. And we want to translate stuff into layman's terms. Now, these could be professional layman's terms. They don't have to be dumbed down too far. But think about reporters. They might cover a very specific beat, like hydrogen, for example. And they understand what fuel cells are and rectifiers and electrolyzers and all this stuff, right? But they're professional laymen's. They don't go deep quite very often. So if you go deep too fast, you're going to lose them. So you want to keep your messaging in a way that generally, if someone reads it and they don't know very much about the industry, they can understand what you're talking about. And then you can always go deeper as people ask questions, if you're in a sales conversation or what have you. But this is really critical. If you cannot tell somebody why your solution matters and why it's relevant today with specific metrics or results that back that up, then people may pay less attention to you. All right. So once you have these messages, you're going to disseminate them into the market. Okay. You're going to create specific messaging around certain aspects, certain audiences, what they care about, and how your solution resolves those pain points. You're going to talk about those pain points when you talk about your products and features. You're going to create all kinds of marketing and sales collateral that continue to parrot those messages. Obviously, you're going to get news coverage for that when you put that stuff out into the market in a strategic way. Social media is going to go there as well, and your website. These are just, obviously there's other places too, but these are the core ones that you want to think about. So you could tell that I like diagrams. So here's my Venn diagram of messaging. A lot of times, companies only focus on their company messages in the yellow. And these are the items that you want to talk about, information you want to get out into the world. And quite often, sometimes they're newsworthy and sometimes they're too self-promotional. And then there's information that customers are seeking. And they might find that information from the company, or they might find it from the market. And then, of course, there's market activity, market happenings out there in the world. There's an ecosystem going on, and there's information to be found there. So when you can think about what information you want to get out into the world, what information customers are looking for, and the information that is relevant to the market, this is when you have your sweet spots for media coverage, because this is the information that is relevant. Company information that customers are seeking, there's a match. Customer information that the market is providing, match. Company information that furthers the market, pushes the industry forward, creates a new market, match. This is how you get media coverage with your messaging. Not magic, although a lot of people would like you to think so. So with ZeroAvia, continuing on our case study here, we put out a tremendous amount of forward-looking, not forward-looking, I'm trying to say, a lot of content and press announcements out there into the world that gradually and very steadily increased the company's credibility, validity, and market dominance. So it started with the launch of the company. They didn't even have a plane yet, but the whole idea of what they planned to do and the strong flag that they were putting in the ground there was very really resonated with the industry. And the coverage we got from that launch back in, I think it was 2019, well and above what we expected. That was amazing. We were very pleased with that. And then the next month, we put out a customer announcement. The next month, another customer announcement. The next month, some investment. The next month, some technology improvements. And about every month or 6 weeks, there was another news item that was going out into the world. Something else that Val Miftikoff, the CEO of ZeroAvia, did very deftly is he would use time pressure to get certain deals signed that were a part of a big industry event. So the company that was in negotiations with ZeroAvia was also exhibiting at the conference. Maybe ZeroAvia was also there, and they wanted to be able to announce the news at the conference. So Val would use that time pressure to get the deal done. Created a lot of heartburn for me and the team because it could be 11 o'clock the night before the news is supposed to go out, and we still don't even know if it's going out or if there was a final press release or anything. We got journalists on the hook. We're just waiting. So that was a little stressful, but it had a really powerful effect for the company. Okay, I'm going to pause there, see if there's any questions before we move on. We're getting to towards the end, and then there'll be a chance for more questions. Okay, Jenna, you can interrupt me if there's anybody out there who wants to talk. So when you do all this work for messaging, aligning it, software update, no thanks. Oh no, okay, here we go. When we take the time to align our messages with the pain that our customers are feeling and translate those messages into language that is on their map, speaks to their experience, their point of view, you'll start to realize brand awareness. And this is people you meet at a conference, kind of already know what you do, or have heard your name, or recognize your logo. That's great. That really tells you that your messages are resonating and you're getting out there. The customer's reasons that they are buying also match the messages that you're putting out. The news coverage parrots your messages. And then obviously social media comments will advocate for you organically. And so this is what happened with Zero Avia. They were able to raise at this, I have to update these numbers, over $200 million and probably up to 1,000 pre-orders by now. And they still haven't been certified, but they are the dominant brand in decarbonizing aviation. And Time actually put them at the top of their American green tech companies to watch this year, which was pretty impressive. So when you get your sales and your messages and your PR team all aligned, and they're out there closing, you get people signing on the line that is dotted. And we have seen this time and time again with our clients at Technica. Turn on the PR machine, and then the sales start rolling in to such an extent sometimes that the CEOs they don't have the time that they had at the beginning to really focus on PR, and then we expand to talk to other SMEs and other folks in the company. Other people become spokespeople, and we work with other people. But the CEOs always really stay engaged because they understand that the PR is that power that is fueling the sales engine. What we talked about today was how to use PR tools to bolster your sales funnel and messages that aid in that customer journey, and also some tactics to achieve those results. And then also, we're going to talk more about that in the next workshop, which is going to be happening next month. And that's how to convert your company achievements into media coverage, because it doesn't happen automatically. It starts with the messaging, and then there are some very specific methods and best practices to translate the work that you're doing into stuff that media will care about. So that's what we're going to talk next month. And Jenna is going to put into the chat the link to register for that if you want to. I haven't written the description yet or anything like that. I was focused on doing this presentation first, but we'll get that description written up within the next week. And but you're welcome to pre-register for it now. So I want to thank you all for being here, and because you took the time to show up, I want to offer you a 60-minute session to talk about anything pertaining to your business that you think PR might be useful for. So ping me, and Jenna will put my email in the chat here. We'll also send you a follow-up email. And if you want to take advantage of that, please feel free to, because I want to support all of you in your success.